So we are now going to write the symbols of the following elements here. So again, for us to be able to write the symbols correctly, we have to refer to our periodic table of elements, and you look for that element. In your chemistry course, it is very important that you get to be familiar of where the elements can be found, because later on, when you will need information for a certain element, it will help you a lot if you can locate them right away. It's going to save you a lot of time. So you know where to look. Is it left, right, top, bottom, middle? So you know where to look. So that's why we're having this practice of writing the symbols of the elements by looking for them on the periodic table. So we begin with neon. And we know that neon is found on the right side, and it is here. It is element number 10, and the symbol is capital letter N, small e. So you write down capital N. Capital N is written that way, okay? If you have it in another way, correct yourself, please. So capital N and then small letter E. And that's how neon is written here. Okay? Second one is calcium. So let's look for calcium. Calcium is here. It is on the left side, element number 20. And calcium has a symbol Ca. So let's write down capital C, small a. And that's how calcium is. Next is we look for silicon. Silicon is element number 14. And silicon has a symbol Si. So let's write that down. Silicon is Si. The next one is iron. Iron is here in the middle. It's element 26. If you look closely at the symbol of iron, it is Fe. You might wonder, why is it that the name iron doesn't match with the symbol? It's because the symbol of iron Fe came from its old name, ferrum. So the old name, so that we don't forget where iron comes from, so the Fe comes from its old name. Iron is already its modern name, so that's why they don't match. So just follow however it is done and get familiar with how it is symbolized right now. So iron is Fe, so we write down capital F, small e. And that is our iron. Magnesium, take note, the complete name is magnesium, not manganese. Do not confuse yourselves with magnesium and manganese because they're different elements. Magnesium is really magnesium, no other names. And you can find magnesium as element number 12 in here. And that is capital M, so write your capital M properly, and then small g. And that is your magnesium. Next is krypton. Krypton is a noble gas. So noble gases are found on the very last column to the right. So krypton is here. It's element 36 and the symbol is Kr. So you put capital K and small letter R in there. Krypton. Next is now the manganese. That sounds like magnesium, but they're different. Manganese is found in the middle, and it is beside iron. It's element 25. So the symbol is capital M, small n. So that's going to be written exactly how it is. Big M, small letter n. Next is silver. Silver is found above gold. It is here. So silver is element 47. And the symbol is Ag. Doesn't match with its name because the old name of silver is argentum. So that's where Ag came from. So just follow that. So that's going to be Ag for silver. And last but not the least is uranium. Uranium is found at the bottom. It's a radioactive element. You see it in period 7 here, all the way here. So element number 92, and uranium has only one letter, and that should be capital letter U. And so we're going to write that down, capital letter U. And that is the symbol for uranium. Do we have any questions or difficulties in locating our elements and writing their symbols? Any questions?
Is there going to be a test on it?
You will have during the test, you are just going to look at your periodic table. You don't have to memorize them. And the emphasis on this is if you meet any of these elements and they're on their own, they are classified as elements. Okay? Because they're found in your periodic table chart. Okay? Any more questions? No need to memorize your periodic table. That's why I said have it handy. If you have a printer, print it, so you can refer to it right away. If you don't have any questions, let's proceed to the upper part where we skip it. This upper part right here. Okay? So let's now focus our discussion on symbols and formulas, particularly chemical symbols and chemical formulas. So what does that mean? So symbols, or shall we say, put the word chemical there, chemical symbols, so that we will be specific with chemistry. Chemical symbols are very convenient method in chemistry to be able to know the type of atom that we have. So symbols are actually representations of, to represent the identity of the atom. So every type of atom is represented on the periodic table. And on the periodic table, the identities of this atom are assigned with chemical names and chemical symbols. And the symbols are always unique for every element. So for example, number 2, oxygen, when you find it on the periodic table, it is always symbolized as capital letter O. Carbon, on the other hand, is symbolized as capital letter C. And there's no other element that have the same symbols and the same name also, because each element has a unique chemical name and a unique chemical symbol assigned to it. And that's what makes it convenient in chemistry to identify what your atom is. And as what we have done in the practice, the chemical symbol consists of 1 or 2 letters. The first letter is always capitalized. It's always capitalized, and the remaining letter is always a lower case letter. You do not make your own format. This is always the format that only the first letter is uppercase and the second letter is always a small letter. And that is for the chemical symbols. Do we have any questions so far with the concepts from numbers 1 to 4? Questions? Okay, I take it as none.
No.
Okay, thank you. Now let's go to chemical formulas. Now here we go again. There's another math term. Formulas. Don't be scared because this is not like math. There's the word chemical there, but it's using the word formulas. What are chemical formulas? Remember yesterday we defined compounds. And compounds consist of two or more elements chemically bonded to each other. So for example, H2O. H2O is your water. It's a compound that's consisting of hydrogen and oxygen. We also had sugar yesterday. The C12H22O11 is your sugar, or the other name for sugar is sucrose. So these names of substances that are compounds are represented in chemistry as a chemical formula to shorten it and to be able to identify what's there and how many. So chemical formulas contain symbols or the letters and numbers, as what you see in the example. You have letters and numbers. And number 7, these numbers are written as a subscript. So it's a small number after the letter, subscript. Subscripts are used to indicate the relative number again. The relative number or quantity of the elements in the compound. So when you say quantity, how many? So for example, let me enlarge my H2O here. So if I have H2O, so this is my subscript 2. I have two capital letters here, H and O. And when I look at the periodic table, that means H is hydrogen. So that's the name of the symbol. How many hydrogen do I have? So all you need to do is look at the subscript 2. So that means you have 2 hydrogen atoms in water. And the next one is O. And O is big letter. And when I look at the periodic table, it means the name of O is oxygen. And yet, I don't see any number for O. If you don't see any number, that's understood to be 1. So you have 1 oxygen atom in water. So to analyze your H2O chemical formula, you're going to say that you have 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. And that's that's how you interpret a chemical formula. Here, for sucrose, we can say that you have 12 C is carbon, so you have 12 carbon, 22 hydrogen, and 11 oxygen. And that's what makes sucrose, sucrose. The letters and the numbers are both important factors for us to know what our compound is. And that ends our discussion for symbols and chemical formulas. Do we have any questions? None so far?